Right guys, thought I'd do a bit of an update. These are, you probably guessed, these are new new glasses. Looking at them, they look really bad. I got these from, we went to a new shop today in, it's not Torrebecca, probably up near Caparoy, a little bit further along N332 towards Lazinia Boulevard. It's a place called Action, I think it is. I think it's a Dutch place. People can correct me on it if they like. But the funny thing is, all my normal glasses, look at these ones. Should have gone to Specsavers, I do, but I find they all seem to break. I find that these are very cheap and nasty, bend, which is why you often see me like twisting it, because it actually like there ends up like this. So I thought, you know what, I'm not spending another, because these were about 100 quid a pair, plus like when you put the tint and everything else. So I thought, it's out there today. I thought, oh well, I'll see how these are. So these were an extortionate. My eyes I look like I'm from a TV show, you know, like when somebody's completely blind. But these were €2.50, not 250. And the reason they look a bit bigger is because they have lights in the side of them. My wife went, that's a great idea. Now had some cheaper ones at 99 cents. But for entertainment value, I'm going to use the ones with tape. Because like I said, these ones, they put me off looking at them. But it's alright when I can't see them. So I'll put these on for now. As you can see, lopsided. Feel like Morecambe and Wise. So this week in La Mata, the new portable toilet, which is just sitting outside there on the edge of the bowls. I assume they sort of lobbied for it, and so that's gone in. There does seem to be a bit more activity on the boardwalk, but it's gone quiet again. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's the weekend, but it wasn't exactly moving at a high pace, and allegedly there'd been somebody fined or whatever, so that's why the reason it was stopped, allegedly. So that's all on the go slow. So we're going to miss this summer with that. Rock for Cancer is coming up July, June, July. Yeah, it's got to be July. So I'm going to aim to be back for that. So if you want to meet us up at the venue in Torrebecca, please say hello if you bump into me. We'll be up there doing our bit for the music and actually enjoying it. It was good to meet up with Richard when we went down to the bar here. I forget the name of the bar because it used to be Bar Tango's outside and whatever, but that's had a refurb, so we're sitting outside there the other day. That was quite nice to just have a meet up. And for us, you know, what have we been up to? Well, obviously you might have seen some of the videos around Green Day. Went up to Madrid. That was enjoyed that a lot. It's good for Ubi. The hives were really good as well. And we're sort of like looking at more music venues and stuff. You know, go actually spend more time doing stuff around music. The only problem with doing stuff on music is copyright. It's become the bane of my life on media content creating. I just get to the point where you just think, I did this all to actually just share information. Don't make money. It's not to, you know, let's face it, I do it simply to help other people out because I already have the information, but I like giving back by sharing stuff, but at the same time it's nice when people tell me stuff I don't know as well, so it's a bit of give and take. But I do find it a bit frustrating that we were in a world now where a band playing a bit of music that's owned by a artist that died say 20 years ago is still copyright of somebody elsewhere. It's a little bit frustrating because my view is it should hit say a 20-year rule after somebody's death and that's the end of it. You don't own it. It goes to the domain of the public. But anyway, that's enough on music rights. What else has been going on? I've seen still people kicking stuff around about foreigners not welcome in Spain. I'll be perfectly blunt with you. That's not the context. You will hear people say, "Oh, well, I've heard," or "the tourists have not heard," blah blah. The whole thing's about rent hikes. The cost of living's gone up. They want to demolish locations to build more hotels, which means there's less accommodation for people who already reside there. Spain's a bit more defensive rather than allowing people to walk over it. So I fully get the people that are actually trying to preserve their livelihoods in their locations, because heaven forbid it ends up like London. So on the islands, I fully support them trying to preserve their way of lives in their locations. They're born and bred, etc. No issue with it. Oh, but you live in a foreign country. Yeah, but none of these here were the locals. These properties have been built around the tourism industry. They're predominantly holiday homes that are predominantly used by foreigners. The rents are not phenomenal either. I think the costs on the Canary Islands, though, I think the costs have gone up by about 150%. I'll tell you, in this area, if you find it too expensive in La Mata, go 15 minutes inland and I'm sure you'll find something cheap enough to live in. And the bus service is cheap, and you may not get what you want, but if you go inland, you find they're more likely to have things like swimming pools over relying on the sea. You're not going to miss out on anything. So my view on this area is a little bit different. The locals aren't pushed out the market here. But what's going on in the Canary Islands is also going on in Madrid, Barcelona, etc. around the Airbnbs, and you can look at that about legislation changes that have either occurred or people want to happen to prevent people being able to use their properties for Airbnb investments, because it just forces the prices up. And for those that are a little disheartened about it, if you work in London and live in London, you know how much the cost of living is there, because when you flood it with people, the cost of living goes through the roof. The quality goes down. So a 3-bedroom house that used to be, say, £600 a month is maybe £2,000 a month. Why? Well, because you can split into a HMO and you get every single one of them paying £600 to £800 a month each. How do I know? Because the place I have in Northampton, I pay nearly £500 a month, and so does every person in that house, and there's at least, what, probably 6 of us, so at least £3,000 a month going into the landlord's property. So if you encourage it, that's what happens. So I get a room instead of a house. You got 6 times as many people in there compared to actually having the house. I'm not a fan of it. I do it because logistically the UK is becoming too expensive. I can't justify renting a place, because I rent a place, I've then got the council tax, etc, etc. So I fully understand why people in the Canary Islands are saying enough's enough, do not build any more hotels unless you're building accommodation for the locals, or don't keep knocking down the houses so the locals have got somewhere to live. Seems logical to me, because the illogical part of it being, if you keep building the hotels and have no staff to manage those hotels and run them, then it's moronic. Oh, we're back to London again, you know, because I work in London, so I get the London complex, because I get job offers that say, oh, you must be on site so many days a week, and I'm going, you do realise the train's £40 a day, and if I live in London, my rent's going to go up by at least 300, and I don't want it at 300 a month, and I don't want to live in London because it's become such a dump. Northampton's rough enough. So yeah, weigh that in on taking it from a empathetic and contextual viewpoint of the people in the Canary Islands do want tourism because they need the income, but they don't want to be pushed out of their own towns. Who does? The media is an absolute circus, and I really don't like the way it pushes these false narratives. Because I haven't met a single Spaniard that hates foreigners. I've met the old Brit that hates them, and I've met the old Brit that hates foreigners coming to our country that live in Spain. And you're like, but you live here. Yeah, but that's different. Yeah. Okay. So, moving on. Yeah, that's more to do with the economics of the local environment. But it's been great being back. We're in Lezinia Boulevard yesterday as well, and one of the things, there used to be a restaurant at the back on the top where the food court is, used to be called Mel something, which was more like an American diner. That's now become another burger place, because we ate there yesterday. I wouldn't say it's anything better or worse than a Burger King. I just don't think it actually needed another burger restaurant up there, but that's my personal opinion. The staff managed to get the order wrong 4 times, I think, that's some achievement on its own. But we laugh it off because we're not in a rush, we're not annoyed. It's just the fact is, you forgot that, you forgot that, you forgot that, you forgot that. Anyway, it is hot today. It's very, very stuffy. I'm going to open the window. All the chairs are over here as well at the minute because I've got the treadmill out. I think the humidity is nearly at 70%, which is ridiculous. It's way too sticky and hot. And I'm going to be on the treadmill in a minute because I had the burger yesterday. Guess who's got to do 17,000 steps and a bit of running today? I also got some weights yesterday. Oh yeah, so I got these weights. They're 3 kilo weights for fast walking and running. I paid, I think they're 22 euros at Decathlon. That new Action place, they've got them for $7.99 each, so roughly 16 euros. So there's a bit of a saving on weights. Not the exact same model, but you get the picture. In fact, I think they're a bit smaller than those ones, same weights, but smaller shape. There's lots of stuff in that shop, so I do recommend a visit, because it's I think the best description for a UK version is probably Home Bargains. It's not high-end stuff, but there was a lot of things like notebooks and photo albums and snack food and detergent and cosmetics and all sorts in there. The majority of it I haven't seen elsewhere in this area, so worth popping in and see if there's anything of interest in there for you. But yeah, having a week off work was good, especially after being at the Green Day concert last weekend, because it took a couple of days of recovering. Yeah, you know what, you come back and you start thinking, I need to book my next concert. It's been good in that sense, because from a personal point of view, I've worked like a dog for a long time to make things happen. You know, the house, moving April and the kids from Asia to Torrevieja, to fund everything, to make sure things happen. Then we've had some issues with people's medical bills, death costs, you know, for funerals and things, you know, a lot of bills over the last few years, and we're now starting to come out the other end where things are starting to be a bit more positive, which is nice, because I try and avoid being too positive and just sort of, okay, I am positive, but I don't want to be too positive, because every time I do something goes badly wrong. So yes, we're on our way, things are starting to move, things are improving, but yeah. What's it, man plans, God has laughed. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. A couple of people have asked about the farm. Your farm's been an idea for a while, but it's only in the last few months I'm starting to get to that point where I'm moving the way I want to live. So we are looking at properties, we are looking at farms. I'm not going to jump straight in. I'm looking at locations, knowing full well that all of this used to be underwater. So when I see stone built properties with no roofs on it, because I don't mind doing the building work, and I've got to admit, Ub and his mates are so keen to do stuff. I do say stuff because they want to, you know, do lad stuff, probably go up there with bows and arrows and air rifles and, you know, kid stuff. But at the same time, I'll take it as an opportunity to teach them trades. You know, we'll rebuild the buildings, we'll do the terracotta roofs, we'll find the timbers to put new beams in, concrete the bases, install water systems, heating systems, develop some life skills. So I want it to be more of a practical place. So I want a lot of square meterage. The building piece, not really worried about. I don't mind dragging a caravan up there for the first year or two while we do building work, because this is the house. That's our hacienda or whatever. It's out in the middle of nowhere, where it's a retreat. It's where the kids, when we get a bit older, we may stay here or stay there, and they stay in one of these. You know, it's a long-term thing. I'm also thinking about when I put a small pond in there, fish pond, not in the sense of a garden pond, but fishing pond. So I'd have to look at how that could work, because a lot of the problems here is the land's quite dry. So how do we keep it stocked? I need to look at trees, creating natural shade and stuff like that through planting trees, and you know, it's a fair old project. But I'm not in a rush. I'm looking at it, I'm 50, I've got a lot of mileage still in me, unless the bus hits me tomorrow. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to do stuff with it. Going to do it with me, you know, with my son. My son's mate's going to get involved if they want. Want it to be a project where, you know, even if somebody wants to come over for 2 weeks and come and crash out, get free accommodation. I'll be perfectly blunt, it will be basic accommodation, because we may be on solar panels and we may be on a deep well for water. But the whole point is, it'll be an experience if anybody's interested. And I know Richard's on about Richard's interested in being my what do you call it, the head of the farming and whatever, the head of the farming committee. That's it. He'll be the farm manager. So it's not going to be based on, like, you know, you see a lot of the lemon trees, the orange trees and things like that. I don't want it to be something that's commercial. It's got to be, although it may end up with some commercial entities like Airbnb type things set up in there, but we were just talking about that with the, not in that sense, maybe like things like yurts, with like a bit of glamping, that sort of stuff. But then I think, do I really want glampers on there, or do I really want to make it more camping? Do I want people that are behaved. That's the key to it. I want people that have respect for other people's stuff. So I've still got to think on that, but I want a big enough area so we can start working on it. You know, I was thinking about that, and I'm just thinking about Johnny Vegas's campsite. No, I do not want something like that. I do not want a mass campsite. I want it where people can come up, enjoy the fishing, enjoy the environment. It's a quiet space. It's not full of like 200 pitches or that sort of stuff. It's more a case of a retreat, because bearing in mind, it's not a commercial entity. So for me, April and the kids will be up there chilling out, whatever. Other people should have enough space to go and chill out, whatever we work out we're doing in there. But I do think there's a few motorbikes coming out. go past first because they're quite noisy. I can pretty much guarantee they'll go up there, all the way down there, and then come round and go all the way back through again. Yeah, so that's happening. The motorbike I'm looking at as well, because to be fair, the motorbike is a bit of fresh air for me. April would tell you, in the Philippines, like this time of night, I might just go out for driving for an hour on the bike, because it just clears the head, just in your own space. And I enjoy it. I know I sort of lost some of that stuff when we moved over from Asia, because the car's not the same. And if anybody's got a motorbike, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That being on your motorbike is a completely different thing. So the motorbike's going to happen, which reminds me I need to phone Madeline, a friend, tomorrow, Monday now. I did WhatsApp her, but she ain't come back to me, so maybe she's not on WhatsApp. But yeah, I need to upgrade my license. I think it's the A1, so I can get a Harley, and I think I'm getting the bottom end Harley CC wise, which is fine for me. I'm not after, I don't want one of those big bikes. I don't want it with all the, you know, excessive. I want, you know, I'll share a picture of the bike. I'll stick it in the comments piece on there with a little picture. It's more to do with the freedom of it. I'm not interested in something that's as big as a car. Defeats the object. I've got a car out there. I want something that's sort of low to the road, and you can just enjoy it. That's it. Enjoy the air, enjoy going down to Cartagena or whatever, and just experience Spain. Interesting times ahead. A lot planned, as we say. Map planned, God's laugh. But we'll get there. We'll see what happens. You probably notice I'm a lot more positive this week as well. There's a week off work, so work's not in the best space. But one of the things, just a bit of an advisory on that, is if you're in an environment that's very toxic, has a lot of backstabbing, a lot of things that are out of your control, a lot of blame culture, just step aside it. It doesn't matter. Focus on yourself. This week I've finished my IOSH course, the health and safety one. I've also done, well, I've got to finish that tomorrow, my assignment for my my level 7 degree, which will then mean I've done probably about 60% of the course, and I need to try and wrap it up, because to be fair, with that master's degree, getting to a director's role in a company is much easier, because some of the companies and some of the contracts you've got to have a degree to actually sit in those roles. Hence, you'll have people out there, sorry, you have a lot of people out there with degrees that are some of the under-capable individuals on the planet in many cases. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because let's face it, they didn't put themselves in that position. People gave it to them. They told them do a degree and you can be the CEO, you can be this, but can you actually do it? Don't worry about that, we'll sort that out later. Have you worked with people before? Don't worry about it. Engineering background? No. Time served? No. Yeah. So I keep it positive, I keep things based. My focus is on my education, the focus on the health, hence going on the treadmill. Here comes those motorbikes I said. They'll just go up there and come straight past me again. Now, I've got to admit, the way they're riding, they've just got helmets, t-shirts and whatever. I spent a winter in a military hospital many moons ago where there was 9 soldiers in there with all their legs and bits and pieces pinned together, from motorcycle accidents. Just be careful and thoughtful. It may not be you that causes the accident. That's why people say, oh yeah, but I'm a good this. It's not you that's not the problem. It's the twat that pulls out in front of you and puts you over the top. Just be safe. And yes, I'm just as bad. I mean, in the Philippines, I ride without a helmet and flip-flops. Both are actually illegal in the Philippines, but once you get out into the provinces, you can get away with a lot more. You get stopped by the police, buying breakfast, away you go. Corruption, you can't bribe the police. They don't get paid very much. So I don't mind. Yes, I'm a naughty boy for buying them lunch or whatever, but at the same time, they're doing a difficult job in a difficult country. So, hey ho. But yeah, you've got to focus on yourself. So, things I'm doing: health, the wealth, which is we keep tapping away at the mortgage. We've got a whiteboard downstairs. It's now got two little charts. One's investments and one's mortgage. So one's going up and one's going down. And every month I'm paying what I can afford on both. But this month I stepped back and thought, got to enjoy it. I mean, the Madrid trip cost me a few €1,000s. The tickets were 600. Then there was the hotel. No idea how much that cost me. Then we flew up and flew back. Then at least 120 euros in taxi. Then all the t-shirts we bought, because t-shirts 40 euros each. Going out a couple of times. Obi loves army surplus stuff, so he's now got a desert camo jacket, because his granddad's ex-forces. Because funny enough, we're there and they've got the, I think it was 4th Armoured Brigade, but it was originally part of the 7 Armoured Division. My dad served in 7 Armoured was one of the units he worked with. So when he'd seen it with the logos now, and they bought it, and he goes, "Oh, this was 4th Armoured. There wasn't 7 Armoured." I said they were actually both in the Africa campaigns. You know, well, it made them famous, the Desert Rats. So I do that as if we know, everyone knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, he's quite happy with that, quite proud of that. He got some other bits and pieces, but I just said to my son, do not think about money, because he spends too much time with the missus. When I do music stuff, same with Christmas stuff and all that, I just write off the budget. I mean, I've got to admit, I put a fair chunk of money aside, and if it all goes and more, I don't care. I don't get in debt because I always have reserves. So the worst I have is I go, oh, I don't even look at how much I spent. I look at what's left in the bank, and then just go, oh, okay, I need to put another 2,000 back in there. Fine. I do not think about the money. I think too many people get orientated on the cash. And I know some people are going to go, that's easy for you to say, but it's because my parents were fixated on their cash. So, and I remember when I was younger and not having much cash around Christmas time and stuff like that, you know, when you start working young, and I basically told my parents not to buy me nothing, because I couldn't afford to buy anybody else presents, so I never bought them. Because I couldn't. I said, do not buy me anything, because I can't afford it this year. So the position I'm in now is more a case of I'm looking after my kids, my wife and whatever, to enjoy life to the max. In the same way, I will go at my kids. I don't give a damn if you've got money or not, we're still going to buy you stuff. And at the same time, when you get older, if life's crap, you can always come home. It's always going to be here. I think it's important stuff for the kids today, because there's too much pressure on kids today. And I'm saying this in the broader sense, because I know a lot of you guys are similar age group or a bit older, and we've got a lot of responsibilities that we may be able to shrug off now. Again, you're old enough now, out the door. But mobile phones keep people locked into social media 24/7. when you go back to the 80s and 90s, you didn't really hear much unless you went out for it. So you go to the pub or whatever. There was no, your boss wouldn't chase you after working hours because he couldn't get hold of you. There's no way to contact you. In the same way, beer was cheap in percentages wise. Because the big problem is people talk about monetary terms and not percentages. How much the cost of a house is compared to wages. How much of the car is percentage wise compared to what it was before. Because everything is far, far more expensive for the younger generations than it was for us. And it wasn't cheap for us either. And politically, there's this shift to try and make it as if everything's our problem. But here's a shock horror. I didn't spend anybody's money. I spent my money, and often the government spent more of my money than theirs. We didn't create this mess, and that's one of the things I will say, guys. Is if somebody starts going, "Oh, it's all right for you, Grandad," or you know, when you're just say, "Hang on a minute," I didn't spend that money. The government did. I didn't elect them in, because I'll be honest with you, I haven't had anybody I wanted to vote for. I mean, I think the closest that came to it, shock horror, was Blair. But even after Blair, with what happened and the stuff that, you know, that come out afterwards, I lost my faith and trust in the government. Well, specifically politicians, because I'm still proud to be British. I'm proud of where we once were. It's difficult now. But at the same time, I don't hate anything. I may get fed up with stuff, I may get tired of it, I may think, why can't we do something about this? But in reality, I also recognise, the same as when you get a work situation that's bad, what can I control and what can't I control? I can help my kids, I can support my kids, I can make them aware that we're not going to be freeloaded, but we are here to support. So as long as they're trying their best, I'll try my best to help them. That's enough on that today anyway. It's not a long video, but it's been nice to be back in the matter. I love it. And we've had, you probably can't see it, got this lovely brown Saharan sand on all the glass. The car looks like the cars that I used to have when I was out in Oman. It's just covered in sand. What's really good on this is I washed all these windows, including all the glass on the balcony, last week, and the car's been through 2 car washes and whatever, and now it looks like it hasn't been washed for a year or 2 and been parked out in some field. Some days you just got to laugh at this stuff, and there's no point in washing it yet until we know that this is gone, which I believe is Monday. But when you do have these days, I do recommend keeping the door shut, keep the window shut, because the air is not good. I'll tell you from experience, being out in the deserts, when I did Oman, Qatar, yeah, cause I've done a few places out in the Middle East, but Oman, when I come back from being out in the desert for about 4.5 months, it took me 6 months to recover, because of the dust in my lungs, because very, very fine, destroys air conditioning, it's very, very yeah, unhealthy. So when it's like this, aircon on, keep everything closed up, keep yourself out the dust. You'll clear soon enough. A couple of days indoors doesn't hurt anybody. But yeah, I'm enjoying being back. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm looking out the window, it's busy, everyone seems happy, everyone's, you know, a lot of families out enjoying themselves. We're heading into family holidays. I've got to go back to work in probably about 4 weeks. But then I'll be back for probably September. Oh sorry, no, I need to be back by July, during July, because we've got the Rock for Cancer concert, which I've got to be back for. Looking forward to that. Going to be some good events there. So yeah, if you do do go. Just say hi to us. Don't feel a bit weird coming up and just saying hi. People do it to me at the airport, and sometimes that is weird because I'll be busy trying to get organised and people will distract me. But it's fine. I'm quite happy that people come out and say, yeah, I watch the channel or whatever. It's good because it means it's worthwhile. And I know some of you guys have followed me for years, because this isn't my only channel. On my other channel I've had people follow me since 2006, when I used to write. I used to blog originally. Some people have moved countries from some of the stuff I did on the Philippines, and some people have moved to Spain because of this. And I still love Spain. Spain is still an amazing country. I do think it's got a better future for my kids here at the minute. I would say just don't get hung up on the politics around the world at the minute, because there's a focus on keeping it negative. And I'm not being liberal focused. It's just the fact is, as an individual, there's very little we can do on it. Leave it to the politicians. And we'll see where that goes. Let's just focus on where we live, what we do, and enjoy life. There's plenty of people making problems, but we don't have to make every solution. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend.